back to my channel. My name is Brayma. We're just gonna get right into it. Today I have something that I'm so excited to talk to you guys about, and that is a love song for Ricki Wilde. Oh, okay. So I finished this book the day before yesterday. Today is Tuesday, May 27th. So I finished it late Sunday evening, Sunday night, and I loved this book, y'all. More than loved it. Like, I've had an ethereal experience, and I just want to talk with you guys about it. I wanted to read more Black romance, and the last one that I read, I think it was The Neighbor Favor, was good, but I found it too fluffy, and I found the issues that the main characters were having to be, while they were realistic, they just didn't feel like they were getting deep enough for me. It was something about that book that it was just too fluffy. I don't know. Parts of it I really loved, no, the parts I didn't. And I was looking for something that resonated with me more. And I have a friend who told me that I should definitely read this book. And I've read Tia Williams' 7 Days in June a couple of years ago. And I remember liking that book. Like, it was deep and everything, and so I was like, I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna like this, but I had no idea how much I would. If you are someone who loves Black love, Black romance, you love Black stories, number one, you like fiction, you like historical fiction, and you're into magical realism, you're gonna love this book for sure. And so I read it, I gave it 5 stars, and I think before I get into the nitty-gritty of it, I should tell you guys what it's about. So I'm actually going to read the synopsis that I wrote. So I posted a review on my Instagram / my Bookstagram account, and so instead of trying to work off memory of what the book was about, I'm just going to read it to you. And I wrote this, so I'm proud of it. Synopsis. So 28-year-old Ricki Wilde is a romantic, a dreamer. Born into a wealthy Black Atlanta dynasty, she's expected to follow in the footsteps of her older sisters and father by continuing the family funeral home business. Instead, and in alignment with her historical tendency to march to the beat of her own drum, she chooses to pursue her dream of opening a flower shop. Following a family spat and a fated meeting, Ricki sets off to make her own way in Harlem. There, she crosses paths with Ezra, a handsome and enigmatic stranger whom she feels drawn to for reasons she can't quite understand. Ezra's dark and frankly unbelievable past threatens to upend his blossoming relationship with Ricki, and they find themselves in a race against time to be together. The book reverently and beautifully highlights how the past is alive and always informing the present. It also asks and answers the question of whether true love is strong enough to win out in the end. So that's what the book is about. I'm going to get to some spoilers later, but I'll let you know before I'm about to do that. I'm also going to use my handy dandy book journal to keep me on track here and talk about some of the things that I loved about the story. And so the first thing that I wrote is that the romance doesn't overpower the plot. I feel like in romance books that I've read, there's this issue of, would this be an interesting story without the romance part of it, like the love part? And of course you're reading it because it's romance, but me personally, I need something more, something deeper. And Tia Williams delivered this. I was almost wondering if I wasn't enjoying the book, because I'm like, this romance part is cool, I love it, it's epic, but I'm really interested in the story like itself. I'm interested in Ricki's background and Ezra's background and the setting and the history of the place and all of that. Like, I stopped reading the book several times to go on the internet and look up stuff about Harlem in the 1920s and things like that, and that's how I know that I'm really getting into it. So just the fact that the story that Tia Williams created itself was so interesting to me, that the romance was just like the cherry on top. That's what I loved about this book, and I think those are the kind of romance stories that I like to read. The history, the magical realism. I'm a historical fiction girl, and I love magical realism. If you are not that kind of person, like if you don't like one or the other, then I can see you thinking that, I can see why somebody who doesn't like those genres might not enjoy this book. So while I'm saying that it's 5 stars, it's 5 stars to me because I love reading about history and Black history specifically, and I love magical realism elements, specifically like time travel and things like that. Because I love history, I love the idea of being able to jump like timelines and things like that. So I love that about this story, and I just think, again, without spoiling anything, that Tia Williams did it in such an intentional way. She took a lot of time, a lot of research had to go into this, and I appreciate it so much for that. Also, I am a person that grew up on Disney. I completely bought into the magic of Disney. I went to Disney World or Land, whichever one is in Orlando or near Orlando, for the first time when I graduated college. So I was 22. Yeah, I was 22. That was my first time ever going to Disney. And we went to the Magic Kingdom, and I saw like we went to see the fireworks show, and they were playing the music and all that stuff. I cried because I'm a Disney kid. I love Disney princesses. I love. I believe in magic. I bought into all of that stuff. So it hits different in a book like this for me. I'm a romantic. I'm sentimental. I believe that there's so much, as hard as life can be, there's so much beauty in it. There are so many things that we can't explain. I believe in God. I'm very spiritual. So it hit different for me. Once again, if you are not a person that likes magical realism, you won't like this book. Probably, maybe, I don't know. If you don't like that stuff and you read this book and you don't like it, don't get mad at me. But yeah, I love that. I also loved the descriptions. So again, Tia's pen, I saw an interview. She did an interview with She's So Lucky podcast that used to be Balanced Black Girl. And she talked about her process for writing and how she always knew that she was going to be a writer. And she mentioned the fact that everything she did from a young age was to prepare her for the career that she knew she was going to have one day in writing. And she took creative writing classes. And I just think that it's just amazing to me to see that I think that Tia already had the brilliance in her, but to also see how like she cultivated her craft, and it comes out in just the way that she describes things. So I don't think this is a spoiler. There's just one part where she's talking about how, when you met somebody a long time ago and you can't really remember what that person looks like. And so she describes that process as when you upload a picture to Twitter or to the internet, and you save that picture and you post it again, and over time it's losing like its sharpness. The quality of the image is decreasing. That's how she described that process. And I thought that was such a perfect analogy for what that feels like, and I never would have came up with that myself. Or maybe I could have, I just haven't tried. But to me, that was just like, there was such a small thing in the book, but I appreciated it so much. So just the way she writes is so satisfying to me. The spice. This is a spicy book. And the thing about it is, just like the romance in the story, the spice does not overpower the plot. Like, the book is not dependent on the spice to make it interesting. It's just like, if the romance is the cherry on top, the spice is the sprinkles, the chocolate syrup, whatever other topping you like. Okay? The spice, perfect. Like, it made me feel things, like, I just say all that to say this is some really good, like, top tier spice. Like, Tia Williams knows some stuff, and also I think that Ricki Wilde is a Scorpio. So, just my 2 cents there. I'm a Scorpio. I'm pretty sure Ricki's a Scorpio. Relatable protagonist, and she's easy to root for. So Ricki Wilde, I relate to her so much. Which even crazier than that is that we have the same initials, and that's why I think that we're also like the same astrological sign. I wouldn't be surprised if like all of that stuff is like her characteristics too. But I made a list of all the things that I have in common with Ricki, and it's partially why I identified with the story from the very first page. But Ricki, we're both the youngest child with 3 older siblings. She has 3 older sisters. I have 3 older brothers. We were born to our parents later in life. I think she kind of happened on accident. I was definitely planned, but I was still born. My mom had me when she was 41. So because of being born later in life, we lacked the connection to grandparents and elders that that our friends like have and had. I've always kind of felt like I was missing something, a really key developmental thing, because I didn't have that. And she mentioned that feeling, and I definitely identified with that. Ricki and I have different ideas of success, and I realized this a lot more recently when I graduated last year, that what feels good to me is not what looks good to others all of the time. And so really coming to terms with that and living my life on my own terms instead of what other people want or expect for me to do is something that I've been coming into recently at 30, and I'm so happy that I have. And Ricki at 28, she's coming into her own. She's already taken the steps to live the life that she wants to live and lead the life that she wants to live. And I feel like I'm doing the same. And so that endeared her to me a lot because I felt seen in a way that I don't often feel seen. Another thing that Ricki and I have in common is our romanticization of everything. She's a very sentimental person. She said in the book that her way of coping with less than ideal situations is to romanticize it. And she mentions New York City winters. Same thing with me. Like if I'm going through a period where I'm lacking something or I don't have something that is not ideal, I start trying to find the beauty in other things and focus on that and make the situation feel better that way. I definitely relate to that. And also Ricki just has a lot of respect for the past, which I do too. I find it sad to think that there are so many people, that there are all these people who lived full lives like hundreds or thousands of years ago whose stories have been lost to history as if they aren't important. And I just think that in whatever way we can acknowledge that, it will be good, because one day we're not going to be here anymore. So of course you want people to remember you, or maybe you don't. Not everybody does, but just the fact that she treats the past with respect and has she's nostalgic. She's a very nostalgic person, but she just has a lot of reverence for history. And I love that about her because I do too. She finds it hard to connect with people, like with friends, and I also feel the same way. She has been taught to believe that her personality is too much, and what she says specifically is that like she's a pretty girl, she's beautiful, but her brand of beauty is very like conventional. So somebody will see her and they'll think that, oh, she's pretty, she's normal, I can go up to her and talk to her, it's going to be an easy time, a good time. And then she says that when she starts talking, like the personality's not matching what she looks like and people think that she's too much. Almost sounds like a self-defeating type thing, like, but I feel that way too. Like I think that, and honestly sometimes it's been purposefully on my part, like presenting myself a certain way because I want to be accepted, when deep down I'm different. I'm quirky, I'm quiet, but I'm also like a busybody. Sometimes I can appear to be aloof, you know, and there are just things about myself that I'm not sure people will accept, and it makes it hard for me to want to share that with them. And just reading about that again with her made me feel so good. And then to see the friendship that she then developed with someone that comes up in the story made me feel hopeful about myself, because it was, you know, I don't know. It's just, I felt seen. I love that. And then finally, another thing that we have in common is that we have our heads in the clouds, but we're smart. I like how Ricki, she'll say things and people look at her one kind of way. They think that she's aloof and not all the way there. But then you read about her and you realize that her mind is so much more. She's actually the smartest one in the room if we really want to get into it. I can relate with that a lot. So those are the things that I love about Ricki. And yeah, as I said, I gave this book 5 stars. So while no book is perfect, there is no such thing as a perfect book, and there are some things that I could comment on, I guess. The feelings that I had, the positive feelings that I had with this book were too strong, so I have no notes for real. And I kind of wanted to get into the nitty gritty of some things. And so at this point, if you have not read a love song for Ricki Wilde and you plan to, I would suggest that you just exit off the video, but not before you like and subscribe, and comment if you are planning. Let me know if you're planning on reading the book so I can just get super excited for you. But yeah, if you haven't read it and you plan to, then I would suggest that you just end the video here, and I'm gonna go get my points that I wanted to talk about that are kind of spoilery. Okay. Also, before we get into all of this, you guys see the face. I had to get cute for this. Actually, I'm going to pause and take a thumbnail picture now if I so can. Some things that I wanted to discuss that are a little spoilery. Mostly, so 2 of them are about Ezra and 1 of them are about the sisters. So I wanted to talk about Ezra and that sheriff. So these are one of the things that, it's like a gripe that I had with the story and not with the writing. It's like I wanted Ezra to do more damage with that sheriff who was responsible for his family getting slaughtered. You know, it wasn't enough to me for him to be like, give me the money. I'm like, you can't die. Like, you got to do some more stuff. Like, end his, like, tell everybody in the town about what he did so his family loses all their prestige, and then do something else. You know what I'm saying? It's a book. But I guess, you know, he's a good person. He doesn't have that bone in him. But beyond that, there was a line in that part of the book where Ezra talked about how that sheriff's, like, descendants may never know the atrocities and the horrors that he inflicted upon Ezra's family. And that resonated with me because one thing you guys don't know about me is that I am a top tier internet sleuth. And so on some days where I've been really, like, bored, I actually went on Facebook and found the descendants of some pretty egregious people in the history books. Like, for instance, not all of them were egregious per se. Like, I won't name no names. I might leave a hint in, like, the comments of who I looked up, but I found their families on Facebook and their descendants, just to see, like, you know, what kind of people they seem to be. And these people have no idea what their grandma and their great grandma and their granddads were doing back then. And it bothered me so much. And when I read that, it brought me back to that whole thing. It's just like, it's so true. There's a lot of people today walking around with all this heavy family history, and they know nothing about it. And as Ezra says in the book, what you don't talk about or address, you're kind of doomed to repeat those things. And so, I don't know. There's nothing that I really needed to add to that that's not already there, but it's true. And I've experienced, I guess, that myself when I was looking people up online. I also wanted to talk about Ezra as a flawed human being. I really liked how the whole business with Felice in the past, how when he went to go talk to Miss Della about that whole thing, she asked him what his role in it was. Like, Miss Della asked him, did you pretend to love my mom? And we all love Ezra. I don't think there's anybody watching this video that doesn't like Ezra. Right? We all love him. We think he's great. I think he's a great person, a great character. But I just love the points that she was making about women and relationships, and how a lot of guys will villainize their exes, and then the second wife or whoever hates that first woman because you've been fed all of these things about her. And Miss Della says, you know, a lot of men are conditioned to think, or they choose to think, that women are the supporting character in their story. Did you ever consider thinking that you were the supporting character in hers? Like, we all have our own lives to live. Everything that we does affect other people, yes, but we're all the main character of our own story. So of course we're living, you know, that way. And the fact that Ezra kind of had like a human moment where he was admitting to, like, you know, there are some things that I guess I was trying to do right, but I was doing them wrong. I loved that part because he is a flawed love interest. So is Ricki. Everybody in the story is flawed in beautiful ways. Like, they're not flawed beyond, like, redemption. That just, it healed something in me, what she was saying, and also Ezra's reaction to it. He's such a great man for Ricki. I also wanted to talk about the sisters. I hated them. Ricki's sisters. Tia did a really good job, again, with creating characters that you could just love so much in terms of Ricki and Ezra, but also hate so much in terms of the sisters. They're definitely a cautionary tale of what happens if you don't do the work in your 30s. And as much as I don't like them, I would love to read another book where they appear, like another book about Ricki and Ezra where the sisters are like an aside and you can kind of see how their lives turned out. Because as I was saying earlier, while I was on Instagram, I saw this carousel from this influencer, because I don't follow that many people, so I'll see other posts on my timeline, and she was just talking about how your 30s is the time for you to really get real with yourself about who you are and what you want. Because the you that you will be in your 40s and your 50s is dependent on you right now to be honest with yourself. And it's sometimes hard to do that when you look at social media or you have a family and they've pushed on you this idea of what success is or what the right way to be is, and you've never questioned, is that something you want for yourself? The fact that Ricki's already doing that is wonderful, and it just seeing that post made me think about this book, and also the sisters in the book, which we'll get to them later. Because you can't live your life based off of other people's expectations and what you see online. You have to figure out what's important to you, because if you're 60 and you realize that all you ever did was travel and eat certain foods and take pictures for Instagram, but you never did anything that you truly enjoyed yourself, that's going to be such an empty life, you know? And the sisters were like that. One of them even mentioned that she had dreams to be a dentist. That's why she's always going to get her veneers done, because she sees, like, she loves being near that work. And she was envious of Ricki for being able to go out and pursue her silly little dream of opening a flower shop. That to me made me think of the whole Instagram post, and I was just like, I'm so happy that at 30 years old, I am doing the brave work of divesting from social situations and institutions that have sought to tell me what the best way to live my life is and the best way to just be. And that's why I love Ricki too. And so the sisters, I feel for them. I do not like them, but I want to see honestly how they turned out compared to Ricki, because, you know, at the end of the book we see like Ricki and Ezra in 2036 when they're 40 or about to be 40, something like that. And I would love to get a glimpse of the sisters at that time, because I just know y'all not as happy as my girl. This book got me out of a reading slump that I didn't even know I was in. It brought back my love of reading that I didn't even know was gone. Like, this experience made me feel the way that I felt when I read Sharon Draper's Romeo and Julio when I was in middle school. And that is a book, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an urban fiction, like black romance with teenagers, and it kind of mirrors the Shakespearean story of Romeo and Juliet. And I just loved the love in that story. Again, there was some magical elements to it. And when I read this, it did it for me. It did it for me. It's so good. And I cannot get over how much I just love the magical elements and how much I wish these characters were real. I'm speaking that a love song for Ricki Wilde is going to be made into a feature film or a limited series, preferably a feature film. But yeah, it's just really good. And I'm so happy that I had a good experience with the book. It made me realize that a lot of the reading that I've been doing this year, well, I have had some really good reads, have been reads of like me just feeling obligated to read in terms of like book club books sometimes, but not really, because we have some really good reads there. But also just powering through stuff that wasn't igniting like that feeling in me. So now I know what I love. And I'm definitely going to pick up Tia Williams' newest book, Audrey and Bash Are Just Friends. I know it's YA, but at this point I'm going to read anything that lady writes. And I also have more of an idea, like I'm starting to really learn that I love magical realism in books. Like, it's just so good, and Tia did it so well. So now, after this, I'm actually planning on reading the books in the Kennedy Ryan, is it the Sky Something series? The first one is Before I Let Go. So I'm going to read all of those, and I'm excited about it because I know that they're going to be good, but I don't think that there are any like magical elements in those books, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'll ever find something, I'm sure I will one day, that will just make me feel what this book made me feel. Like, this feeling is so rare, and I feel like we chase it with every book that we read, but I just want to let y'all know that I 1000% loved this book. I want you to read it and love it too. I think it was released last year in 2024. I want it to get so much recognition. I want this book to just blow up in the best way. So I hope that this review has encouraged you. If you are interested, I don't know if you're still here because I think I told you guys to click off the video, but if you're interested in reading this book, I hope this review like pushed you further in that direction. And also, I took my time. Like, I thought about rushing through it to be able to post a video on time, like on Sunday normally. but I didn't do it. I was like, I'm only going to read this book for the first time once. I want to sit with it and enjoy it. And so, yeah. To that end, I want to know like more about y'all's reading habits. Like, how fast do you read? Are you somebody that's trying to hit a goal? Or are you just reading casually as you can? Or you read a lot, but you like to take your time with the books? Like, what kind of readers are you guys and why? I would say that I am definitely, like, when I set a TBR for the month, I feel like I need to stick to it because I said that I would, and I don't like making changes. But I also feel like being a mood reader would be very freeing. But I like to try to read one book a week. But when you get those books that just like suck you in, I don't know about y'all, but I stopped caring about trying to hit the goal. Like, I got the goal, and it was a really good book. So normally I try to hit my goals with reading. Like, I said I'm going to read this many this month, and that makes me feel good. But if a book comes in my path that just messes up all my plans, then that's ideal for me. So yeah. A love song for Ricki Wilde, you guys. I actually recorded this yesterday. I didn't like it. So whatever this is, it's going up. But I need to let somebody know. I need to let somebody know. I love this book so much, and it's probably going to be a reread. And if they come out with anything for it, I'm going to own the physical media for that too. So yeah, if I find out anything about a movie or a TV show or music, you heard it here first. I'm going to be making sure that I stay on top of that. I'm going to report back. So a love song for Ricki Wilde stands. I'll keep you informed. I'll do my best to. But all right, y'all. I've been yapping for long enough. Thank you so much for being here, for being patient with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked it. Leave me a comment. Talk to me a little bit. How do you feel about the book if you've read it?